Hello guys and welcome back to my channel. My name is Lucia and this is Lulu's Leaves. Today's video is for all of my lazy plant parents out there. Trust me, I'm with you guys. I love plants that I can neglect, and I know that that's a common trend because a lot of us are busy and we don't have the time to hover over our plants 24/7. So today's video is going to be all about plants that are easy to take care of and that can withstand some neglect. There are a few different genuses that I'm going to talk about, but I'm also going to talk about specific plants because I really do find that some of my plants do way better than others without constant attention. So if that sounds like something that you are interested in, definitely continue watching this video all the way through to the end. Also, if you could leave a comment down below, that would help me out so much. It helps YouTube suggest my video a little bit more, so even if you want to drop an emoji down there, that really helps me out. Also, if you want to leave a thumbs up and subscribe down below, you know the deal. But that's going to be all of the blabbing for me. Let's get straight on into today's video. So the first plant is actually one that I'm sure all of you guys could guess. It's one of my favorite plants and it is extremely tolerant of neglect. I am talking about the heartleaf philodendron, or the Philodendron hederaceum. I have always gone back and forth whether it's a Philodendron hederaceum or cordatum, but I've heard that cordatum is actually a whole different species, so I don't want to continue to make that mistake. It is a Philodendron hederaceum. I absolutely leave my Philodendron hederaceums alone for a really long time before I have to water them. They're also plants that are really great in low light, which is really great for people who don't have a ton of light. And also, if you don't want to be watering your plants all the time, it's better to keep them in lower light because the soil isn't going to dry out from the sun. So it's really great that they are lower light tolerant, and they also don't need a lot of water besides that. They are definitely a plant that you can somewhat neglect. I think I go probably 2 weeks between watering my 4-inch pots and close to 4 weeks for anything larger than that. So I have an 8-inch basket that I rarely ever water. But what I like to do is wait until I see the leaves curling. They actually are very good for telling you when they do need water. So it's not a guessing game. You don't have to go in there with a moisture meter and check it out. All you have to do is wait for the leaves to start curling. I do also want to mention that if the leaves are curling but you watered it 2 days ago, you may have a root rot issue. So be careful that you're not watering it every day and the leaves continue to curl, because that's a whole separate issue. But yeah, the Philodendron hederaceum is absolutely number one on this list. I love it so much. It's a beautiful plant. It will continue to grow even if you neglect it. Another plant that fits this bill is the Philodendron silver sword. This is another plant that I tend to neglect. It is at the back of my shelf, so I don't often see it very well, but I do obviously love to enjoy it when I am over there and looking at it. It is a beautiful plant. I love the silver color of it, and it's just very unique. I don't have a lot of silver plants in my collection, so it's definitely one that I cherish in terms of that. I do like to add different colors around my plant room and around my house, so that is a great plant for doing that, and they are becoming so much more accessible. So if you do want a silver sword, you should be able to find one for a reasonable price. And what I mean by reasonable is about $25 to $60 depending where you are. This plant is another one that is really great at telling you when it needs water. Usually when it's fully watered and happy, it's nice and perky and you can notice that it has been watered. But when it does need water, it droops similar to the Philodendron hederaceum. This one actually also curls its leaves in, but they tend to kind of fold down as well. They have a thicker petiole as they are a climbing plant, so they are actually able to support their leaves in different kind of positions, I guess. So yeah, if you see that your plant is tilted down, that's when you want to water it, and also if the leaves are curling. That is another plant that is just so great at telling you what it needs when it needs it, and that is my kind of plant. Next up, I do want to also talk about cacti in general. I don't have a ton of cacti in my house, but I do know that I barely ever water them. I don't remember the last time I watered them. Actually, I did repot most of them lately, so probably I watered them then. But they are such a cool plant to have in your house. They don't grow very quickly depending on the species that you have. I think euphorbia tend to grow a little bit faster than some of the other cacti species. And again, euphorbia is not actually a cactus, but many of them do look like cacti, so I kind of like to put them in a category together. But these plants actually do thrive on neglect. Not survive, but thrive. You definitely don't want to be watering your cacti too much. I don't want to go and say don't water them for 4 months, but they do enjoy breaks between waterings. So I like to water them about once a month, depending on the size of the pot. But yeah, that is my general rule for cacti. If it's looking a little bit wrinkly, I will water it. If not, I tend to leave it be. But cacti are a really great option for maybe someone who travels, or if you like a desert feel in your house and you have more of an eclectic style. Cacti in terracotta pots can be super fun, and they look just really cool. While I am kind of phasing out terracotta in my plant room, or at least in this area of my plant room, I am actually starting a little collection of terracotta pots on my windowsill, and it's just my little terracotta garden over there. So yeah, it is a very cool look if that's what you're into, but that's kind of where mine are sticking to, because most of my plant furniture in here is white, so I'm trying to stick to clear and white pots from now forward. Next up, I want to talk about Hoyas. Hoyas are a plant that can really withstand neglect as well. There are definitely different species that have different leaf types, so this doesn't go for every single Hoya in the book, but for Hoyas with thicker leaves, I definitely find they are great for withstanding neglect. Hoyas are definitely sensitive to overwatering, so you want to make sure that when you do have Hoyas, you aren't overwatering them. They yellow really easily, so again, make sure that you're not overwatering your Hoyas. I tend to go between 3 and 4 weeks between watering my Hoyas, even in 4-inch pots, and if they're in 8-inch pots, sometimes I can go 1 or 2 months without watering them, which I know if you're a new plant parent, that probably shocks you. But Hoyas are really, really great if you don't have a heavy watering hand. One of the best Hoyas that is great for neglect, in my opinion, just due to the sheer thickness of the leaves, is the Hoya Chelsea. This is a great option, and it's a little bit more uncommon. So if you're looking for something that's a little bit funky, not super common, but you still want something really easy, the Chelsea is a great option. Dracaenas are also a really easy care plant, and I will tell you, the Dracaena that you see in all of my videos, this plant went, I think, 3 or 4 months without any watering at all. And while a lot of leaves did die off, the plant and the roots were actually very healthy in the end. So again, if you're a traveler, this is a great plant to keep in your home. It's probably going to be just fine while you're away. But I do want to say that my plant is a larger one. It's in a 10 or 12-inch pot. So that's another reason why it can go so long. That size pot will retain the moisture a little bit longer than a 4-inch pot will, but still, it's a really, really great option for those who are a little bit scared about leaving plants when you go away. So Dracaenas are a really cool option, and there are so many different types of Dracaenas. I really like the look of the Dracaena marginatas. There are a few different variations, and they're really cool statement pieces in a house. Dracaenas are also really, really great. I do also want to touch on succulents. While succulents definitely aren't the easiest and they aren't impossible to kill, they do tolerate lower amounts of water. Take that as you will. These plants do need high light, so if you're currently keeping your succulent in a dark bathroom with no windows, it's time to move that plant. But if you are giving your plant lots of sunlight and only a little bit of water, it is going to thrive. I definitely had my share of struggling with succulents in the beginning, but I have figured them out, and I really find that if you put them on a nice windowsill, give them enough light, and water them about once every 2 months or once a month even, that is a really great schedule for them. Again, keep in mind this doesn't go for every single pot size. There really isn't a schedule for watering your plants, but if you do have them in a really small pot, as lots of succulents come in, you'll be just fine. Last but not least, I don't think it would be fair if I didn't speak about the golden pothos. Golden pothos is a really great plant for those who are just starting out with houseplants. They definitely can withstand some neglect, and they'll also tell you when they need water. They start to droop and they look really dramatic after a few weeks of not watering them. So once you see the first signs of that plant looking a little bit sad, that is your cue to water it. But usually that takes at least 2 weeks before it starts showing those signs. So that's another plant that's really great with lower light and lower watering requirements. They can also be super beautiful, trailing off your furniture, just making a beautiful statement in your house. So don't forget about your golden pothos. I definitely did for a little bit, but I am back on the pothos kick, and now I actually have a few different varieties, so what can I say? Alright guys, well that is going to be all for the plants that can withstand neglect video. I really do hope you guys did enjoy this, and I hope that it was helpful for some of you who are looking for some easier care houseplants. While you're here, thank you for making it to the end of this video. Don't forget to subscribe and click the thumbs up button down below. It helps me out more than you could know. But yeah, that's going to be all from me, guys. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I will see you next time. Bye!